Cha! Hey! Good morning to you! Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Twitter X. My name is Steve Shetler. Welcome to the Morning Wake Up on Steve Shetler Media. And again, we are broadcasting live all throughout social media world. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I refuse to call it X. It's just weird. So make sure you check me out and follow me on all of those platforms. Let's get to our forecast right away here. Let me pull that up for you. Our forecast brought to us by our friends at the Garden Gate. Slowly but surely, things are starting to look just a little bit better. Baby steps here, people. Wind chill warning till noon today, followed by a wind chill advisory. So again, like I said, baby steps, but slowly but surely getting a little bit better. Some patchy blowing snow later on this morning, otherwise sunny and cold, a high around 3. I mean, yesterday we didn't get above 0, so 3 above today. Like I said, little tiny baby steps. Breezy west winds will keep things rather frigid. Let's see here. Winds could get up to about 30 miles per hour. Tonight, some blowing snow, patchy blowing snow, clear skies, a low of 3 below. So not a whole lot of change overnight as far as temps, only dropping just a few degrees. Southwest winds tonight still gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Wednesday, we will see a high of all the way up to 21 degrees above 0. We will have a slight chance of some snow in the afternoon. Wednesday night, a 30% chance of some snow. A low of 7, so staying above 0 tomorrow night. Thursday, again, a slight chance of some snow and a high of 13. Let's see here. What does some of this stuff mean? What does the wind chill warning and advisory mean? Well, the wind chill warning, dangerously cold wind chills, obviously. Wind chill advisory still means very cold, with wind chills well below 0. That's for portions of all of our main area that we focus on here in southeast Iowa for Steve Shetler Media. Now, the dangerously cold wind chills could cause frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 10 minutes. So if you plan on spending any time outside, 10 minutes or more, make sure you are covered up. Hey, also additional details, gusty west to southwest winds from mid-morning through afternoon may cause some patchy blowing and drifting in open and rural areas. So keep that in mind. So you are advised. You are advised from the National Weather Service. You're advised to avoid outside activities if possible. If you are, make sure your skin is covered. So just keep that in mind. Check with 511 if you want for traveling. Roads should be pretty much, hopefully, back to normal. Obviously, there are going to be some spots out there that are still covered. But hopefully, as we said at the beginning, slowly but surely getting back to a little bit of normal here in Iowa. Our weather brought to us by the Garden Gate, where you can get fresh floral arrangements, jewelry, home decor, sympathy gifts, something for everyone. Garden Gate located at 105 South Jefferson in Sigourney. Call 641-622-3191. Stop in and see Cindy and the gang. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays 9 to noon. And of course, they can help you out for Valentine's Day, which is less than a month away now. So get into the Garden Gate in Sigourney. They sponsor our forecast here on the Morning Wake Up on Steve Shetler Media. And let's look at the comments. Good morning to you, Tamra. Good morning to you, Nick. Yeah, I want 60s and sunshine too. Nancy Snakenberg, thank you so much for sending me some stars. Again, I'm looking at my phone here. If you have the option, as you can see here, Nancy sent me some stars right here. If you look at your phone, if you're watching on a phone, you should have an option to send me some stars, which means if you have like 99 stars to give me, you're basically giving me 99 cents. So you're giving me $1. You're saying, hey, Steve, here's $1. So Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Renee, Mary, Kurt, and Kathy, thank you all for tuning in on this chilly Tuesday morning, Tuesday, January 16th. Hey, some stuff to look forward to. Let's see here. Let's bring this up here. The question of the day, that always goes up right around the noon hour. Just something to keep in mind. What is your go-to coffee order? On a cold day like today, if you were to stop into a coffee shop, what is your go-to coffee order? Our question of the day, again, that goes up right around noon, during the noon hour. That's brought to us by our friends at Amy's Salon House and Spa. You can see all the products that they offer at Amy's Salon House and Spa. You can call or text for an appointment. Stop in at 202 North Main in Sigourney. Hair services, spa services, extensions, products, tanning, and more at Amy's Salon House and Spa. Something to look forward to later on this week at Barnwired in Sigourney. They always host our Iowa Music Showcase. This week we are featuring the Iowan Luke Stutzman, who has a brand new project out there. I use this program, that segment, for the Iowa Music Showcase to introduce you guys to Iowa musicians that maybe you haven't heard about. And this is an example of that, because I have not met Luke Stutzman. I've only messaged with him on Facebook and set this up. But I'm looking forward to hanging out and getting to know Luke Stutzman and hearing some of his original tunes coming up this Friday. So you can stop into Barnwired Live, be part of the live studio audience. And yes, we do have a live studio audience. They are hanging out with us. We always have some of our regulars, and you are always invited to Barnwired for the Iowa Music Showcase. That's Fridays, 11:30 to noon. Stop in for maybe some coffee, maybe some lunch. They always have great lunch specials and their full menu. So it's the Iowa Music Showcase coming up on Friday at Barnwired. Something else to think about. We're going to have Keota Eagle basketball on the air tonight, taking on Sigourney. There's going to be Sigourney at Keota tonight. However, most of the area schools, due to the extreme cold, are canceled for today. In fact, I'd say everybody is canceled for today, right around southeast Iowa. So that basketball game is not going to be happening tonight. That has been postponed until February 6th. I believe, looking at the schedule, that'll be the last game of the regular season for Keota, probably for Sigourney as well. That's just a guess. But again, Sigourney at Keota basketball for tonight, postponed until February 6th. We will have that game for you here on Steve Shetler Media. So that means our next broadcast isn't for another week. So we've got a couple of games coming up next week. Tuesday, we'll have English Valleys at Keota. That'll be on January 23rd. And then on Friday, January 26th, we'll have Keota at Tri-County. So a road game coming up next week. Again, next week, EV at Keota, and then Keota at Tri-County. And once again, Sigourney at Keota will be pushed back until February 6th. Then coming up this Saturday, we'll have the sports section, kind of the coaches show, the sports show for the high school teams around our area. We'll have the sports section coming up this Saturday live from from Brothers Market in Sigourney. You can do some grocery shopping, stop by and check out the happenings at the sports section. Alan and Bruce, our normal hosts, will be on tap. I'm not sure, I can't remember off the top of my head who we've got for guests coming up this week at the sports section. So we'll make sure you tune in here on Steve Shetler Media or stop in and see the sports section live at Brothers Market. And one more thing, sports-wise, get your vote in for this week's Keokuk County Hospital and Clinics Athlete of the Week. Kind of limited. We put the poll up yesterday. It's always based on the previous week's sports schedule and how the athletes did. Last week, not much happened because of the weather. So there were a select few basketball games, and we've got some of our area basketball players up there. Get your votes in. Just scroll down my Facebook news feed a little bit, and you'll find the poll for the Keokuk County Hospital and Clinic's Athlete of the Week. Make sure you get in your vote. It's as simple as either, if you're doing it on your phone, just pushing on who you want to vote for, or if you're on a computer, just click on who you want to vote for. Some people get confused with that. I'm not sure why. I don't think it's that hard of a process, but some people do. So get your votes in for that. Hey, good morning to you, Deb, Ron, and Sherry. Appreciate you guys hanging out this morning here on the Morning Wake Up. Of course, tomorrow we'll have Neil Crott, Hot Neil Crott, hanging out in the studio tomorrow. He's always the co-host on Wednesday mornings. We'll have to discuss tomorrow this past weekend's Snow Angels that we did. Neil had the audacity to challenge me to a Snow Angel contest when we got all the snow last week. And it's pretty obvious I destroyed him in that Snow Angel contest. Those videos up on the Steve Shuttler Media Facebook page. But yeah, clearly, and I'm going to rub it in his face, clearly, I beat him in that Snow Angel challenge. So go check out those videos. We'll talk to Neil live in studio coming up tomorrow. Let's go ahead and do some of our normal stuff, including some birthdays. La, 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 la. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right. Quit it. Enough with that party favor. Birthdays for today. Well, the oldest guy that I have on my list is William Kennedy. He's 96. Who is William Kennedy? Well, Bill is a U.S. writer and novelist. So William Kennedy turning 96 today. Auto racer A.J. Foyt. He is a big-time Indy winner. He is 89 years old. Speaking of racing, rumors are out there, and I'm the one starting them because the rumors aren't actually out there. But rumors are out there. I've heard that I was talking to some race people last night. It's just what I'm hearing from myself in my own head. We'll have some race coverage, some sort of racing coverage. I'm not saying live racing, but we'll have some race coverage coming up this spring and summer here on Steve Shuttler Media. I guarantee. Let's see here. So A.J. Foyt, 89. Ronnie Milsap, 29. Ronnie Milsap turning 81 years old. My story on Ronnie Milsap that I love to tell is he was performing over at Riverside Casino here a few years ago. My wife and I scored some tickets to that and some backstage meet and greets. And as my wife and I were waiting to meet Ronnie Milsap, Ronnie, in case you don't know, if you're a younger viewer, you don't know who Ronnie Milsap is, he is a blind country singer. He had some big pop hits as well. But so Ronnie is blind. So, doing meet and greets with him, it's a little different than the normal meet and greet. So my wife and I are kind of in line. We can't see what's going on because it's so far ahead. But we keep hearing Ronnie Milsap yelling out, 29! So the story is, when you finally get up to meet Ronnie Milsap, he's sitting in a chair, and then you sit down beside him, and you say hi, and you exchange pleasantries. But then the photographer lets Ronnie know that it's time to take the picture. And so, that famous Ronnie Milsap smile, if you Google Ronnie Milsap, he always has a huge smile on his face. It's like, so when the photographer is ready, he says, hey, okay, Ronnie, we're ready to go. So Ronnie goes, 29. And when he hits that 9, when he hits the 9, and his mouth is wide open and he's smiling, that's when they click the picture. Or they take the picture. So there you go. Some inside information. 29 for Ronnie Milsap. I thought you needed to know that story today. Other birthdays for today, John Carpenter. He has directed some scary movies in his time, including Halloween. John Carpenter's 76. We've got singer Sade. Smooth operator. Let's see here. Sade turning 65. Other birthdays today. That's me boxing. Roy Jones turning 55 today. Model Kate Moss. It's okay. You can eat some cake and ice cream on your birthday today, Kate. Kate is just a skinny little thing. Kate Moss turns the big 50. Happy birthday to you, Kate. Singer Aaliyah Aaliyah passed away. My bad. But it is her birthday today, so we wish her happy birthday. Awkward. Let's see here. Singer-composer Lin-Manuel Miranda. He has written some musicals that my daughter loves, including Hamilton. 44 years old for Lin-Manuel. And then finally today, football player Joe Flacco was just being featured with the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs over the weekend. For a quarterback, for an NFL player, Joe is old. He's an old geezer. 39 years old for Joe Flacco. So happy birthday to Joe. Hey, before we get any further, you can see some of this information scrolling down at the bottom that we'll be getting to. But of course, last night was the Iowa caucuses. Did you guys get out and caucus? Did you place your vote in a way? Hopefully you did. It's cold last night, so I'm sure that affected things. But as far as the results, Donald Trump, as you have heard, Donald Trump running away with things here in Iowa last night, getting 51% of those caucus votes, just destroying the competition. And I'm not saying I told you so. I told you so. Why? You knew. And I'm not, don't take this as me saying I'm a full-blown Trump supporter. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But it was just obvious. Trump was going to run away with this. And obviously, he's going to be the Republican candidate. That's been obvious since 4 years ago. So Donald Trump running away with it at the caucuses last night. Ron DeSantis with 21%. Nikki Haley, 19%. And then Vivek, my buddy Vivek Ramaswamy. He got not quite 8% of the votes, the caucus votes here in Iowa last night. Vivek calling it a campaign. He says, I'm out of here. So Vivek Ramaswamy bites the dust. If he would have went with my campaign idea where they featured his name in the song Viva Las Vegas, Vivek Ramaswamy, if you would have done that, you probably would have won the entire thing, like with 100% of the votes. Vivek Ramaswamy. But he didn't. So Vivek's out of here. Also last night, Iowa men's basketball beating Minnesota. Down with those Gophers. 86-77. Big road win for Iowa last night. They moved to 12-6, and now even up their record in the Big Ten. And Fran McCaffrey becoming the Iowa winningest basketball coach. So congratulations to Coach Fran. It all brings up memories of Dr. Tom, Coach Dr. Tom Davis, one of the greats in Iowa Hawkeye basketball history. And Fran McCaffrey now all alone at the top of the mountain as far as wins in Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball. Let's see here. Good morning to you, Cindy, Teresa, Neil. Yeah, bring it on, buddy. Neil cried in the comments this morning. You can't beat my snow angel. I'm a snow angel master. All right, on this date in history, because it is, as I mentioned, January 16th. I got this hair in my eye, and it just won't go away. On this date in history, well, look who's making an appearance. Come here, Stella. I'll give you some camera time. Got Hank in here. My dog's showing up. Say hi, Stella. That's Stella. She's still wearing her Christmas sweater. Come here, Hank. Come here. Hank's going to make his debut. Hank's all legs and ears and tail. Can you give him a good shot of your ears, Hank? Yes. Hank's a kisser. So that's Hank. All right, you guys get out of here. Okay, so Hank and Stella. Oh, wipe some of Hank's slobber off of me. Hank and Stella getting on for today. Let's see here. On this date in history, 1920, America went dry as the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. Constitution taking effect, Prohibition becoming the law of the land. So Prohibition back in 1920. Also on this date in history, it was 1939, Superman first appearing in a comic book on this date in 1939. Today is, let's see here, I have zero idea what this means. National Without a Scalpel Day. Scalpel. Beep. National Without a Scalpel Day. What are we supposed to be doing without a scalpel on this day? I don't know. It's National Fig Newton Day. It's National Religious Freedom Day. And it's National Nothing Day. Yes, we needed a day where we observe nothing. So today is that day. Things you need to know. Let's see here. Peacock. A lot of people unhappy over the weekend with having to get Peacock, the streaming service from NBC, to watch the Chiefs-Dolphins football game. And you know, Iowa football fans weren't happy during the fall when Iowa had some football on Peacock. You subscribe. Basically, they get you to subscribe for a month, and that way you can see your football game that you want to see. But it worked. You know, people were complaining, but they obviously paid for the month of Peacock, as the NFL game between the Chiefs and the Dolphins set a streaming record, first ever streaming exclusive postseason contest, averaged 23 million viewers. So complain if you want, but obviously they're going to keep doing it now because they got big numbers. Other stuff you need to know: Microsoft stock going up, Apple stock going down. Microsoft became the most valuable company on the stock exchange. Other stuff you need to know: after 3 years, former Senator John Kerry going to be stepping down as the official U.S. climate envoy, whatever that is, to help in the re-election campaign of Joe Biden. So, I don't know if that's a good thing for the Biden campaign or not. Hey, a royal aide claims in a new book that Queen Elizabeth was livid when Harry and Meghan claimed to have received her blessing for their daughter's name, Lilibet. So there's that. Oppenheimer. Have you seen the movie Oppenheimer? It's 3 hours. We watched it over the weekend when we were snowed in here at Shetler Studios. Good movie, but you have to, it's a chunkier day. 3 hours. Oppenheimer, a good movie, is the big winner at the Critics' Choice Awards on Sunday night, walking away with 8 honors. And you know what? I'm just now thinking, I think the Emmys were last night. Did anybody watch those? I did not. In fact, I didn't even think about it this morning. I don't think I saw anything on it on my news feed either, so we'll see what the numbers are for that. Tom Brady. Did you know Tom Brady was a good baseball player? A Tom Brady autographed baseball card sold at an auction for nearly $159,000 here recently. He was drafted by the Montreal Expos. So Tom Brady, not only a Hall of Fame quarterback, but was a pretty decent baseball player back in the day. You ever wonder if people out on tour, like musicians, when they go out on tour and they come out and they're like, "Hey, Sigourney! Hey, Oskaloosa! Thanks for coming out tonight." You ever wonder if they say the wrong town when they come out and do that? Well, they do. As Madonna is apologizing to her fans in Toronto after she blurted out, "Hello, Boston!" She was in Toronto. Let's see here. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was released from the hospital yesterday. Did he let anybody know? That is the real question. Let's see here. The Biden-Harris campaign heading into the presidential campaign with a record $117 million in cash. Is that really a record? That doesn't seem like a whole lot with the amount of money that campaigns spend these days. It's the largest of any Democrat in history. So they've got some money, some spending bucks. And finally, in things you need to know, did you know, I saw this all over social media, the Miss America pageant was held on Sunday night. Here she comes, Miss America. The winner was Miss Colorado, Madison Marsh, who became the first active duty military service member to win the title in the pageant's nearly 100-year history. So we salute you, Madison Marsh. She's a second lieutenant in the Air Force, recently graduated from the Air Force Academy in Colorado. So congratulations to you. One other thing you might need to know, or it's just kind of neat to know, since we're in the deep freeze here in Iowa, they advise you, if power outage is a thing, which it kind of has been here in Iowa in different pockets of the state, and during this power outage season, you can put a quarter on a glass of frozen water and place it in your freezer. Now, after a power outage, check the cup with the quarter in it or on it. If the quarter is on top of the frozen water, your food did not defrost and it's safe to eat. Now, if the quarter is in the middle or bottom, your food defrosted and refroze and might not be safe to eat. So the old quarter on the frozen water trick. I had never even considered something like that, but could be a good idea. So put a cup of water in your freezer, put a quarter on top, and then that way, if your power goes out, you kind of know where the freezing or unfreezing process is. Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for Today's Impossible Question. Today's impossible question: 4% of people do this while driving. What do you think? 4% of people do this while driving. While you think about that, good morning to you, Dan, Sherry, Monica, and Patty. Glad to have you guys with us on our morning wake up here on Steve Shuttler Media. Again, 4% of people do this while driving. They read a book. That's concerning. If you're able to read a book, I mean, I know you're not supposed to, but I get, looking at your phone real quick. But reading a book, I mean, you're like investing. You're invested. Your time is invested in reading the book. Like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. 4% of people are out there reading books while driving. That is terrifying. That is today's impossible question. Let's see here. I've got a survey up. Survey says, according to Wallet Hub, the best states for drivers. Number 1, give yourself a pat on the back. Iowa is the best state for drivers. So obviously we're not reading books while we drive here in Iowa. Must be pretty good. According to Wallet Hub, again, Iowa, the number 1 state for drivers. So congratulations, Iowa. The worst state on the other end is Hawaii. Hawaii, the worst state for drivers. That reminds me, when I said Iowa, if you were watching the caucus results, did you see Trump's speech at the end? And he came out and he's like, thank you, Iowa. It was like how he says, China, Iowa. Thank you, Iowa. And then when he did his speech, you could always hear him breathing in between his words or his sentences. It was like, thank you, Iowa. Iowa, China. Let's do some weird news.
That is weird.
Archaeologists weren't too surprised when they began unearthing relics from a dig in northeastern Brazil. They were stunned, however, to keep finding relics. It's like the deeper they dug, the more relics they found. It was off the coastal city of São Luís. São Luís. In all, they've unearthed 4 layers representing different eras of human habitation. So, kind of neat, kind of weird. Well, thanks, Harry. I appreciate your compliments. I try to be entertaining and educational. Gosh darn it. Other weird news, Tennessee. A man became the oldest person to paddle the length of the Mississippi River when he completed the 87-day journey at the age of 87. His name is Dale Sanders. They call him, Graybeard. Graybeard. Dale Sanders, 87 years old, paddled the entire Mississippi River. That is something. Over to Illinois. Bitter cold temps hitting a local church in Edwardsville, Illinois, being penalized, or as some people like to say, penalized. What's up with that? Penalized for sheltering the homeless. Yeah, shame on you for keeping homeless people warm. Again, this is a church in Illinois. The city is fining First Baptist Church in Edwardsville, Illinois, $750 a day for opening its doors to those in need. How stupid is that? And then down to Louisiana. Way down to Louisiana for a story about cabbage. Louisiana woman, I don't know if it was on a Saturday night, a Louisiana woman set a record for growing the state's largest cabbage, weighing in at more than 44 pounds. It's the size of a small child. 44-pound head of cabbage in Louisiana. Oh, let's go to space for one more weird story.
That is weird.
In some weird, after months of getting in there and trying to scrape and jimmy some stuff up, NASA scientists have at last opened the canister containing material scraped from the what they call potentially hazardous asteroid Bennu. The asteroid is called Bennu. The sample, roughly 8.8 ounces of rocky space rubble collected by the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft, is thought to contain some of the earliest precursors to life and is the first chunk of a space rock ever grabbed by a NASA mission. I bet that there's a little something of life on that asteroid, and they're in there chinking and chunking around and trying to scrape stuff. I bet they're going to wake something up. It's going to be an alien. You heard it here first. Breaking news. There's an alien on that there asteroid. There's an asteroid alien. Okay, we'll save. I got some stuff right here for Neil Crott. We're going to save that for tomorrow. How about some files of law and disorder? Good morning to you, Dixie, by the way. Files of law and disorder. Let's go to Serbia. Who doesn't like to go to Serbia? A Serbian man was executed right in front of his wife and kid as they returned home from a bike ride last week in Brazil. And in a strange twist, I mean, it sounds horrible. It is horrible. Somebody getting executed right in front of their family. In a strange twist, it's now been revealed that the victim, described initially as a family man, was actually a hitman wanted by Interpol. His name is Darko Geisler. That is a pretty cool name. If you were wanting a bad guy in a movie, there is your name. Darko Geisler. Darko was 43. He was wanted by the International Police Organization for multiple contract killings and had been on the run for almost a decade. He runs no more because he was shot dead. Darko. My name is I am Darko, and I am here to kill you. I am so sorry. Some good news. Enough Darko talk. Let's bring some sunshine. The aerospace industry has continued to become safer throughout the years. That's a good thing. 2023 was a year in which no large turbofan-powered aircraft were involved in any major fatal accidents. As a result, last year will go down in history as the safest in the history of commercial aviation. We'll take that. Hey, let's go ahead and do some...
Duh.
In some duh. Yo, let's go to this moment of duh. Under the stage name T-Sav, that's T-S-A-V, yo, T-Sav in the hizzy. His real name was Boy, I can see why he went by T-Sav, because it was a lot easier to say than his real name. Tyrell Hugh George Mahoney Nguyen. T-Sav it is. He is from Canada. The guy drew on his experiences as a gangsta. See my grill? You can't see this. You can't see me. He drew on his lifetime experiences for his music. But the guy's lyrics did actually help him earn not a Grammy Award. He got 2 life sentences, from the BC Supreme Court judge who found one of T-Sav's songs was essentially a thinly veiled confession to a 2017 murder of a gangster, another gangster, Randy Kang. The music video, along with the testimony from a key police witness, was part of a body of evidence that convinced the justice that T-Sav was guilty of the first-degree murders. 2 life sentences for old T-Sav. Dang it. Let's see here. I have to correct myself from yesterday. For some reason, I had the wrong box office movies, the money-making stuff from weekend movies. So let's backtrack. I'll give you the correct information. The number 1 movie, as far as money-making movies at the box office from this past weekend, was Mean Girls. That came in at number 1, brought in $28 million. That was ahead of The Beekeeper with $16.7 million. Followed by Wonka, Anyone But You, Migration, and other movies that didn't make much of anything. So, Mean Girls, your number 1 movie at the box office. All right, that'll do it for our morning wake up. Once again, just a reminder here, your forecast brought to us by the Garden Gate. Wind chill warning till noon. It's cold. Followed by a wind chill advisory. So that means that it's letting up just a tiny little bit. Baby steps, again, is what we're going with. Wind chill warning till noon, followed by a wind chill advisory, a high of 3 above with breezy west winds. And then tonight, a low of 3 below, patchy blowing snow a possibility, and winds up to 25 miles per hour. That shall do it for your morning wake up here on Steve Shuttler Media. Coming up today, what is it? Today is Tuesday. We've got the In Remembrance Of video at 8 this morning. We've got the What's Happening video coming up at noon. We'll have our question of the day with Amy's Salon House and Spa coming up during the noon hour. Then this evening we'll have, at least we're scheduled to have Be the Light Ministry with their program coming up this evening. And if you didn't see it, last night we debuted a brand new show called Card Subject to Change, which if you're a pro wrestling fan, which you know I am, in fact, I've got a wrestling shirt on this morning. NWO, the New World Order. If you like pro wrestling, which I do, so I put this show on. It's a podcast out of the Quad Cities by some wrestling fans out of the Quad Cities. And if you like current pro wrestling like WWE or AEW, or if you like independent wrestling, it's a pretty cool show for you to watch and listen to. It's basically a podcast in video form. And we put up the first 15 minutes of that show last night. So tune into that, scroll back through, And check out the Card Subject to Change podcast in video form that will be every Monday evening at 7 right here on Steve Shuttler Media. So thanks to those guys that, we're going to be doing some wrestling, which I've been wanting to do, actually. So I'm happy to have the Card Subject to Change here on Steve Shuttler Media on Monday evenings. That is a new program. Lots of fun stuff happening here on Steve Shuttler Media, and new stuff will continue to be popping up here on Steve Shuttler Media. So I'm not just going to sit back on our laurels and rest. We're going to keep some new things popping your way here on Steve Shuttler Media on Facebook, YouTube, and the Twitter. The old Twitter. So make sure you follow and subscribe wherever I'm at. That'll do it for today. You guys stay warm and safe, and I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for the Morning Wake Up.